everyone. So welcome back, and I'm very glad to be back here. And if you are here listening to this live, or even next time when you're listening to this recorded, I'm very happy that you are here listening to it. And if you were here for the last episode, you will remember that we talk about wholeness, and the wholeness that is after the rest. Because sometimes during the rest itself you felt rested, but after the rest there is something about that might make you want to go back into rushing, or going all for it. So wholeness after the rest is about continue to slow down, about not rushing back, and choosing presence instead of performance. So I actually also shared how this season feels different for me, right? I had actually that time when I shared, it was around January, February, and it was after a long holiday for me. And I shared how I didn't need to catch up, all right, with the weeks of not being here, and I don't need to prove my productivity or explain my pause. And that was beautiful because I don't need to explain myself to anybody. Even now, I actually have this life after weeks of my first life. And if you saw my story, it's about me not pushing myself to do anything if I don't feel aligned to do, or if I'm not filled. So this is what I have been doing. Even after slowing down, even after choosing rest, even after being present with my family, this is what I choose. I do not want to come in just to tick the boxes. I do not want to come in just to share my contents or whichever. I want to make sure that I come in from a place of, yes, I know I am filled, and now I'm able to share with you. So many times people thought that, oh, after I rest, I can come back and then I can do things straight away, and they jump into it, which is great, but sometimes they forgot to continue the kind of awareness that they have built during their rest. They forgot to be the sustainability that they built during their rest, and eventually something will it will count, it will top the rest. For example, this is the time you scheduled to rest, but because you have this many things to do, you thought, okay, today I will sacrifice this rest and then I'll do this thing. And then the next day you schedule yourself to do exercise maybe, or to pick up your kid early from school. But because you have this thing that you want to do, and you thought, okay, I've already spent time with my kids the last month, so maybe this one I'll just do I'll just delay picking up my kids, and then I am able to do what I need to do. It is not wrong, okay? It is completely okay if you choose to do that, and different people manage it differently. What I'm saying here is, it's not about the action you take. It's not so much about the action you take, but rather all right, I'm not sure if you missed me there. I was talking about doing things straight away after you have your rest. It is completely okay, because probably that is how you manage. However, what I'm talking about is not the action, all right, but rather the mindset, or the awareness around it. Are you doing this just this one time, or are you going to always give yourself this excuse, and then slowly you will end up pushing your own time, your well-being to the back again, right? So this is the kind of wholeness after rest that I want to talk about. And so sometimes people, after slowing down, even after choosing rest, they start to go into all these things so quickly, and sometimes even before they go into this, they still have that tired that linger. Okay, it wasn't a dramatic burnout or a collapsing exhaustion, but rather it's a quiet heaviness. So after all that rest, is either you don't want to do anything anymore, or you get into things so fast that everything kind of snowball again to you being exhausted again. So before we talk about living whole, all right, we need to understand why you are so tired in the first place. Is it really about sleep? To me, I know that many moms have tried to do their 7 to 8 hours sleep, and if you didn't, that is definitely one of the most important things that you need to have in your schedule, to have that 7 to 8 hours sleep, and that is very important. Okay, and even if you already have that 7 to 8 hours sleep and you still find yourself very tired, sometimes it's about survival. Okay, and today this is the kind of sleep that we are talking about. It is the kind of exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. So if you are sleeping 7, 8 hours or more and you still feel tired, but you don't feel sick, you don't think that you are falling apart, and this is not because you are physically tired, it is because internally, not outside, but internally you are drained. All right, and sometimes you seem like you are lazy, you just want to sit there, you don't want to do anything, but you are not. Sometimes people think that you are ungrateful, you just don't want to get into things, right? You are still in the face of saying that, oh, I'm still so tired even after all the rest. And sometimes people hear it as, you're so ungrateful, you have all the rest and now you're still not fulfilled by it. Okay, and sometimes people think that you, after all this rest and you are still so tired, probably you did not have a close relationship with God. Maybe you didn't put enough time into your devotion with God. Maybe you did not pray for God to give you strength, but really sometimes it's not this, and it's honestly not sometimes, but it's not this. Okay, so sometimes we wake up tired. It's not because that we are lazy, we are ungrateful, we are not close with God, but because our nervous system never actually rested. So probably you lie down, okay, but your mind's kept carrying the things that you cannot control. For example, like tomorrow's schedule, for example, your children's emotion from yesterday, or what your children's emotion will be like when you pick him up or pick her up from school, or if you tell them, oh, there's no playground today because it's very wet, or there's no playground today because we are rushing for time or so. All right, you are thinking about all these emotions that might happen or have happened, but you can't control. Okay, probably marriage tension with your husband. All right, maybe the work expectations that were given to you, the church responsibilities, and you have a mental checklist that never ends. So our minds keep carrying this, and these are invisible mental load that people cannot see, but it's all in your mind and you know it. And this load, when it becomes constant, your body stays alert even during your sleep. So if you do not know what is survival mode yet, let me explain it in a very simple way. It is when your body sends stress, whatever stress it is, physical stress, emotional stress, mental stress, then it will shift your body into alertness. And when your body is in the alertness, you'll feel your body tighten, you breathe very shallow and not deep enough, right? And then your mind speeds up, and then you suddenly become very efficient. And this is where people are tricked most of the time, because they thought that, oh, I am able to be so efficient, I can get things done, I can do things so quickly. Probably I am not tired, right? And probably I can just continue to be like that. But that is the tricky part. Okay, because survival mode can look very productive. So it looks like you are functioning, it looks like you are responsible, it looks like you are showing up. But this kind of alertness is not peace. All right, and if your body have been like that for months or years, the rest alone that you are, the sleep alone that you are having in the night cannot undo that. Sometimes even after you take that month off of work, sometimes even that 1 month of holiday with your family, it cannot undo that, because because this has been in you for years, and to undo that, there is deeper work to be done. Okay, and when you are in the deep rest, then only your body feels safe, and this deep rest is only able to happen when you are not just physically safe, you are not just emotionally safe, and you feel that you are supported and not carrying everything alone. All right, so recently I also have another realization. I was learning about business, right? And consistency, right? Being in business, there is it matters when you are consistent. Like if you are not consistent, you MIA, you missing in action, and then people will just probably stop reading, or just go somewhere else. And showing up matters, right? But sometimes, because we kept thinking that, okay, I need to get things done, I need to show up, I need to get things done, and then you forgot about showing up for yourself. Okay, and there's also another thing that I've learned, that is even before everything is perfect, right? You can begin somewhere. So you see, this is what I learned in business. First is that there is a consistency that I need to kind of go, I need to show up. Okay, and then there's also where you want to be ready. So I am trying to balance these two, whether is it I show up even before I'm ready, or is it that I get my things well, then I present it. So there is a kind of thing that I'm trying to balance here. But I realized something, that is whatever it is, right? Whether I want to show up, or whether I want to present whatever, or take a rest, I want to make sure that all this that I'm doing from my heart, and from wholeness, and from feel place, rather than being pressured to show up, or to come online, or to post something. Okay, and at the same time, oh my goodness, I need to try to do something with this. Okay, at the same time, growth also doesn't happen when you are staying stagnant. You thought that I need this rest, and you think that I'm not ready, right? You think you're not ready, and you don't want to get anything, you don't want to put out anything yet, right? And then but actually this is you being just stagnant, and maybe you are there is no growth. Okay, so I realized that because a lot of these things that I'm doing is me alone that I'm handling, and there's no system behind it. So I noticed that this all depends on my energy, my mood, my capacity, whether that day I'm tired from my work, whether I need to whether I have time, whether there's things that I need to do at home, and things like that. So I can only go as far as I feel okay. So if I feel overwhelmed, I stop. I realized that because I was doing that pattern is not just a business pattern. It is a pattern that is in my life as well. That if it is not, especially business, right, is not being having anybody to be accountable to, then it's like in my own time, own target, that kind of thing, and I can just stop it whenever I want. But if it's like a work where you have a boss to be you need to answer to a boss, then you will set that thing. So right now I know that because I need to make sure that this business, right, it's not just for me, it's also to share, right, what I can help the women and moms. So because I want to make sure this passion means like is able to help somebody, I cannot just come and do it whenever I want. I need to show up not only for myself but to the other like moms, right, who needs to hear this. So And because I realized there isn't any system right now, I'm going to show up, right? Not trying to hold everything on my own, but I want to have something to support. That is, I will put in some systems. Okay, I will have automation. So this is also how many of us are living, right? We try to hold everything together. We try to be consistent. We try to be strong. And then we got tired of showing up. Then we start to withdraw. And then when we are okay, we try again. And then this cycle repeats. So the problem here is actually not because we are not disciplined enough, right? The problem is because we are also building our life. Like you hold so many roles in life. You have a mom, you are a mom, you are a daughter, you are a friend, you are a colleague, you are an employee maybe. So you are building a life, right? And sometimes some things that you are doing cannot sustain you because there's only one you and there's only 24 hours a day, right? And if you only depend on your strength alone, you are not able to do it, right? So you need something to support you. Is it some time management that you need to get done? Time tracking that you need to get done? Your energy, you need to look where you're spending more energy on. Is it you're scrolling social media and then you forgot to stop? Is it your Netflix binged? So take a look at where you can have some support to come in from people, from AI, from calendar, and so we can talk more about this depending on where you are at. Okay, so wholeness is not about doing less, it's about no longer doing everything alone. And I also want to say this, that in Christian motherhood there's also another layer, that sometimes we feel like we have to be patient, we have to be gentle, we have to be grateful and spiritually ready and steady. So sometimes even when we're exhausted, we carry it quietly, we don't say it out, because we will just pray and we just serve, which will give everything to God, and then we'll just show up. But did you really do that, right? Did you not to say that giving to God means everything is solved. Not to say that you give everything to God means things are not solved. It is solved, right? When you actually give everything to God, you're surrendering it to Him. Okay, it frees up your heart of that burden that you are carrying. But at the same time, right, that is your heart, and then you have your brain, right? That is the logical part that's keep on that is built because of the way you were taught throughout your life. And this will always tell your heart, right, what is safe to do. The safe things to do is that you continue doing what you do. You continue to show up even though you are tired, because if you don't show up, things will fall apart and things like that. So this is not the same as resting, right? You pray, yes, that is good, but is there any action that you take, right, after you pray to make a change? Okay, so strength does not always mean pushing. Strength sometimes means noticing, okay, I'm not okay, I want to surrender this to God, and then I want to do something about it. Like, God, can you please give me wisdom to see where in this exhaustion or my life that needs changes. Okay, and then when God speaks about rest, He also doesn't only mean about sleep. It is about surrender, like what I said. It's about laying down what you were never meant to carry alone. But many of us learn that strength is endurance. We need to persevere, we need to push through, we cannot complain, we need to be committed, right? Then slowly this is how your survival mode becomes normal, and then you will wake up tired, okay, because you didn't actually rest. Your nervous system never actually slow down, and you forgot how to breathe deep and exhale. Okay, so this is not a failure of your spiritual life as well. It is because it's your body, right, or your brain is trying to protect you. All right, so you want to be held instead of always holding everything together. So what can hold you? God can hold you, your systems can hold you, but before everything else, go to God and surrender. And then Also, instead of asking yourself, right, what is wrong with me? Ask yourself, what have you been carrying? What are the emotional weight, the silent responsibility, the tension in my body? Okay, so ask yourself this, and then unclench your jaw, take a deep breath, and then slowly return to your body, because you were designed for peace and not pressure. So I am going to share more about this season. There will be episode 3, there will be paid versions that I will also put out soon, because when we talk about tired, it is not about just tired. It is often the language of survival, right? And sometimes it means that I feel unseen, I feel overwhelmed, I don't know what I'm carrying. So we'll unpack that gently. Also, if you are in a space where you want to move from survival to resting, I will also have a product soon, like not a product, I will have a freebie soon, okay? Resource, okay? I have a resource soon to help you shift that, okay? From drain to resting, from you feeling guilty to being confident of what you do. So this resource is not something heavy. You don't have to rush into it, but I really encourage you to check it out. Okay, you can message me, or you can wait when I post it up, and then use that resource to help yourself reflect and exhale the tension. Okay, yeah, so that is all for today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.